officials across the country, according to the agencies. Venezuela announced the arrest of a fourth U.S. citizen in connection with an alleged plot to assassinate President Nicolás Maduro following elections that the opposition claims he manipulated.
The American was detained in Caracas.
The U.S. Coast Guard reported that it tracked a group of Russian naval vessels, including 2 submarines, as they entered U.S. waters off Alaska in what appears to be an attempt to avoid sea ice, a move allowed under international rules and customs. Drivers have experienced a significant drop in gasoline prices in recent weeks, and the trend is expected to continue.
Gas prices have fallen about 13% from a 2024 peak in April, which translates to a reduction of nearly 50 cents per gallon, according to AAA data.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host or guest and should not be interpreted as statement of fact. Independent fact-checking and corrections are encouraged.
I think that's inaccurate, actually. I just fact-checked that. And we do not encourage fact-checking. As a matter of fact, we tell you if you find something we've done wrong, keep it to yourself.
Damn good coffee. And hot.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Something is amiss. Okay, miss?
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with a Dog. You make me laugh.
Kumbaya, everybody. Kumbaya. I got nothing. What's going on here? I got nothing. I got nothing. Good morning, you creepy crawlers. It's Thursday, right? It's Thursday, September 19th, 2024. A little overcast here. I hope you got some sunshine in your life. I don't today. And I'm overstressed and overworked and tired. I have not slept again. But I did not call in sick because I listened to Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh says, if you are an adult and you call in sick, you should be embarrassed. And what I say is, well, I better not say it. It's too soon because the YouTube censors will say, well, you can't say that kind of crap that early in a broadcast. But it's just a dick thing to say. This is a guy like me, kind of. He works from his home. He's like me, except he has a bigger audience and a beard and hair. But other than that, and he's like a far right wing dipshit. But other than that, he's kind of like me in that he just gets out of bed and goes to another room in his house. So yeah, even though, and I probably still have had times where I've called in sick or would have wanted to call in sick. I haven't called in sick. There have been things where power outages and stuff kept me from working. But just that, say that statement and shame people for actually using sick days. It's just so friggin' repulsive and I don't know, out of touch with reality. First of all, if you work, I don't have to make this case. Do I have to make this case to you? If you work with other people and you go to work sick, you're going to get everybody sick, and it's not helping anybody. Assuming that what you have is contagious. But even so, let's say you got a broken leg. You're not supposed to call in sick. You should be embarrassed. Let's say you're hungover because you were banging hookers till 5 o'clock in the morning and you didn't get enough sleep. You should be well, yeah, maybe you should be embarrassed about that. But I'm just saying, not always. If you're really sick, you should not be embarrassed. And some people get personal days. Some people don't get personal days. Whatever. Matt Walsh doesn't work a job. He does this, and this does not work. Unfortunately, I have to admit that this does not work. Sometimes it's not fun, but it's never work. The other stuff I do is work, without a doubt. The booking, the graphics, the editing, publishing, the arm swinging when I'm talking, that's work. I think I'm Tom Brady. Hey! No, I'm not Tom Brady. I forgot. I can't throw a football. Anyway, this is not work. And for a dipshit like that to get on his high horse and say people should be embarrassed for calling in sick, obviously he's tempting. And I just hope he comes down with a case of the shit so bad that he can't stand himself. I hope he gets massive purple diarrhea for about a week and has to do his dopey little right-wing podcast. That's what I hope. Anyway, there's not a whole lot going on in the world other than Dump was on Long Island yesterday, and he actually asked the question, how great am I? And doesn't feel like that's narcissistic at all. How great am I? How great am I? I'm not that great. Anyway, let's just get to the dog pound, and then we'll take it from there. We're gonna have a author on later on, Asha Neer, in the second hour, and she started writing her novels as exposure therapy. If you know what that is, you know more than me. I mean, I can guess at what that is, but she didn't start writing to be an author or publishing an author. It was part of a support group type of thing where she was just writing to express some trauma that she went through. And we'll talk to her about that in the second hour. But the first hour will be just full of nonsense. Oh, yeah. Glad you tuned in? Probably are. Don't crash your car while we're just talking nonsense. Anyway, right now, it's time to remind you why I can't sleep at night because of this.
With humble East Coast beginnings in 2015, Daily High Club is the premier destination for glass water pipes, vaporizers, and consumption accessories. If you're looking to elevate your smoking game to the next level, you're in the right place. With over 1 million top-quality smoking products sold, and with a growing base of over 10,000 monthly subscribers worldwide, we deliver the ultimate smoking experience. But Daily High Club is not just a retailer, we're lovers of the smoking scene ourselves, working with giants like Tommy Chong, Snoop Dogg, Chanel West Coast, and more. Ready to join the Daily High Club? Let our experts curate your collection with our awesome El Primo monthly subscription box, or grab one of our fun and unique pieces from our smoke shop. Click the link in the description below this video to get this party started now.
Now, get the party started now, ladies and gentlemen. In the room with me currently are the fabulous Ron Kane of Mr. Tongue's Comedy and Mr. Foot Comedy. He leaves out the Mr. Foot part often, but he's a duality type of guy. He's got two sides to him, and one side is foot and the other side is tongue. And then we also have Mr. Stephen the Four Eyes Ortiz, who changes his name daily, almost as often as he changes his diaper. And my best friend of the last 37 years, who I dissed yesterday. Well, I didn't diss, but I feel bad about how it all went down. My best friend, A.B. Appleton, Mr. A.B. Appleton. Good morning.
Good morning, America. MyDogTV.com. Are you losing touch with reality?
I am.
Trump. Come to MyDogTV.com, where we have enough reality for everyone. Come on in and feel free to touch our reality.
Wait,
smell our
we have reality? I haven't. I need to buy some.
Jiggle
How much?
our reality.
How much?
Once you get a load of our reality, you'll never lose touch again. MyDogTV.com. Support your local mercenaries.
All right, I got to call. I should have called in sick today.
I reject your reality
and substitute my own.
Did somebody hear something that sounded like Four Eyes? I think.
Hey, listen, Hubble Telescope. I didn't make fun of your shit yesterday, did I? No, sir.
Yes, I think you did.
I did not. I did not say anything about those massive Coke bottles on your face.
Right. But it sounds like something weird's going on with your mic. It really does. It sounds like I don't know, like something. I don't know.
Better?
Talk to me again.
Is that better? Hello, hello.
I think it's not that bad. No, it is.
No?
Ron's shaking his head, but I think he might be shaking his head like thinking Steven's a fucking idiot. I mean, you can't tell. He's got different shakes, and sometimes I don't know.
It sounds like he's in a trunk. Same with GD. They both sound like they're in trunks.
Well, GD is in the trunk. I put him in the trunk yesterday. That's what I was referring to. We were gonna off him, but I don't know. Whatever.
I didn't change anything on my settings. I didn't even change the position of my mic.
Let me see if I can do something here. Maybe something got weird.
That better?
Yes.
Yes.
So what did you do?
It was it defaulted to the mic in my webcam. That was weird. Never happened before.
That's so weird. GD, say something.
I'm going to say something. I'm going to check my settings right now.
I think that's a little better.
Ooh.
Yeah. Now Steven's way better. Steven just got he sounds like he's on a microphone now.
Hey.
This if you're just tuning
mine also changes default.
Oh.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, you and Steven are sleeping together, are you? Well, at least you're sleeping. I'm not.
There's no sleeping going on in that bed.
Right. Okay. I'm not either. I'm very troubled, and I haven't slept in so long that I'm starting to get PTs. Why are you punching the microphone?
It hit me first.
Have you guys ever called in sick ever in your life?
Oh, sure.
Pitiful. You're pitiful. You should be embarrassed.
Honestly, a couple times, but what made me have to quit working early was I never let myself heal. So, for example, I would have surgery and then the same day or next day be back at work. Or
you're a trooper. You're a fucking man. You're a tough guy. You're a fucking General Patton.
No, I was a fucking idiot. I put my job first and almost killed myself doing it.
Okay.
Stupid.
I've done that a couple of times as well.
Yeah, it was dumb as fuck. Never again.
It's just so. I mean, and what is the point of telling people that you should be embarrassed for calling sick? Because it feels like the Third Reich. This was a thing with the Third Reich. I'm not sure. It's one of the things that people don't really talk about. But they insisted that everybody work. Work is good for the nation. Don't ever take a day off, kind of thing. That's what it feels like. But to shame people who, for the good of everybody, sometimes if you got something contagious, to stay home and not get everybody sick, it's probably better for the company, better for the country, better for everybody. I don't know. I hate that fucking guy. I want to rip his beard off.
I know the first time.
What changed my?
You go ahead.
Okay, let's say what changed my
I changed my mind. You know, no, you go ahead,
son of a bitch. But what changed my mindset was I had a boss probably 12, 13 years ago, and I had the flu, and I was like, hey, I know we're shorthanded, I'm sick, but I'm still coming in. He goes, listen, I'd rather stress for a day and have you come back feeling better and productive than come back now, get everybody else sick and fuck up everything. Stay home. And I was like, shit, that kind of makes sense, so.
I would say keep your fucking cooties to yourself and your family and don't come near me, you cootie bug. That's what I would say.
That's the rudest thing I've heard you say today, and frankly, I'm insulted, you son of a bitch.
I know.
The first time I took a sick day from a real job, not like when I was a paper boy or worked on a farm. I mean, a real job in a building where I had to get dressed and take a shower and that one of those things. When I called in,
was that? Let me check my calendar. What date he took a shower?
No, I called
1984.
I called into my manager Tracy, and I said I'm not going to be in today, and she goes, what's wrong? And I said, do you want to know the truth? She goes, yes. She goes, yes, I want to know the truth. I said, okay. I said, my girlfriend and I had sex for like 11 hours straight, and I really can't walk. I'm dehydrated, and I have no strength left.
I don't think you had to. I don't. All you had to say was like, I can't walk because
and that's what
can't
she goes. She said, first of all, congratulations, and second of all, I didn't really know that. And next time, just lie to me.
And third of all, you're fired.
I feel it's almost like these companies now telling people they have to come back into the office, which is completely ridiculous. Let fucking people work at home, keep people off the roads, and most employers don't realize most people don't have 40 hours worth of work anymore in the office because technology has made things a lot easier and just the way a lot of jobs are structured. Most people don't have 40 hours anymore.
Well,
100%.
I hope I don't find out, but the last time I left, it wasn't all that long ago. Even technology had helped me in my job, but I still managed to work 60 to 80 hours a week. I mean, not in the office. I would probably do 45, 50 in the office, but then work another 30 at home. I always had more work, and I always feel like there's always more work to do. This is kind of my psychosis.
Well, I think in England they just passed a bill, or somewhere they just passed a bill that employers can't reach out to their employees anymore at the end of the day or off hours.
There's a lot of countries that are doing that. They're implementing 4-day work weeks instead of 5-day. They're also cutting down, putting back
every CEO I've had for the last 30 years would be executed because they've broken that law
in Japan, actually in Japan, they could be executed. In Japan, there is actually a law that you know how in you've been in the pathology, you've been around dead bodies. You know how they can have a
I think I am right now.
You know how they have official cause of death, like the gunshot, the blunt force trauma. In Japan, an official cause of death can be worked to death. Okay, here it's just a saying. In Japan, it's an actual official, cause of death, work to death. Work to death.
Japan, I've read that Japan in the last like 5 to 10 years has like really started cracking down on that because they've had people just dropping dead at work. Napping was allowed at work because they'd want you to work as hard as possible, so they'd let you sleep for like 20 minutes and then they'd work your ass another 12 hours. Like, yeah, legislation against
working my ass.
Napping is allowed. Yeah. But what about Napo?
Oh, no, sorry, that's Korea.
No, Napo's not allowed.
Napo's still forbidden, right?
No, Napo's not allowed, but that was Korea. I'm thinking of Korea. They allowed naps during the day.
And in 27 countries.
Yeah, and Japan's culture had to change because their population is older. Not a lot of people are having kids, and now like Japan is paying for that because
I got a gotcha question. You ready? Here's your gotcha question. I got you. Okay, we were talking about work. What about the thing you love to do, which is perform? Would you ever call and say, like, cancel a show the day of because you're just too sick?
Not with the normal not feeling good. Absolutely not.
Pneumonia, double pneumonia.
If I can manage to breathe and have the strength to move, I'm going. Yeah.
All right.
If I can still put on something worth watching, I'm going for sure.
I've been in really bad shape, and part of the thing is once I hit the stage, adrenaline kicks in, and it just takes over. Definitely it just helps. Like it gets rid of. I mean, like I said, I performed comedy for like 6 years without cartilage in my right knee and without painkillers.
You probably don't remember this, but about a year ago, and I know you were there in the morning. I was bitching about Scott. And he got all upset about this because Scott was just on the gig, but talking about at least he made it. And it's like this is the bad attitude. When you're sick, you should want to go to the gig because that's the only thing that's going to make you feel better. And I basically saying that what you just said, that once you get there, the adrenaline will kick in. And not only will you not feel sick, you'll feel better than normal while you're doing the gig. Now it'll pass as soon as the gig's over and you'll feel like shit.
I lived this out. I lived this out in April when I was in the hospital and I had that show with Zank. And I was like, guys, you guys gotta let me out of here. I gotta go to the show. And I was feeling like shit, dude. I didn't want to drive or nothing. But I got there, show started, and I felt like $1,000,000 until about 20 minutes after the show. I settled down, and then I was like, okay, maybe it's time to go back. But yeah, while on stage, I felt great, at least in the moment.
So I played a gig with a broken ring finger on my left hand, and I took the cast off to play, and I was fine during the show. But as soon as the last, and the thing is, Matt, you know what I'm talking about when you that little tremolo with the finger.
Oh,
you do that with a broken finger, and you don't like the tremolo. By the end of the night, I was like, yeah. And then as soon as I was done, I was like, what the fuck did I just do? I was like, excuse me, doc, I need you to like reset.
I have paid the price for a lot of that kind of stuff, but here's the real important.
But wait, I got some. I think the only reason that happens for performers, like I think it's all bullshit when people are like, "Oh, I powered through. I'm such a great performer." The only reason that fucking happens is because decades ago, because most entertainers are like baseball players, like indentured servants back in the day. And if you miss your gig, they're not going to pay you because there's no fucking contract in place. So it's more of just get on stage and dance, monkey. We don't give a shit.
Yeah, you don't want to be the guy who Lou Gehrig replaced. Remember Lou Gehrig? One guy called in sick. That's how Lou Gehrig got his starting thing, and then he went on to play like forever without ever taking a day off.
Well, that's how Tom Brady got his job.
Yeah, look how that worked out for him.
Bledsoe got injured, and Brady came in for like supposedly 2 weeks and then it was like 2 weeks turned into 2 careers.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I think at the end of the day, though, I think it's a bad measure of like testicular fortitude to say whether or not you go to work sick or not. Because I think at the end of the day, it just depends on what the fuck you're sick with or how you're hurt, like at the end
and what
of the day,
you do. And what you
right.
do.
I mean,
also,
if you lose your voice,
and how many people you work with, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, if you lose your voice, you're contagious, and you're a performer, probably not a good idea to go because you're going to be in close quarters, close proximity, whatever. But I mean, a sprained or broken bone, or whatever else, fucking suck it up and go. But at the end of the day, I don't know. It depends on what it is.
I think as dumb performers, we put it in our head like it means something. Like, oh, I went and did this show sick. When most of people, no one gives a shit. Who cares?
That's me. Yeah, I'm not.
Well, it's definitely not. It's definitely not a. For me, it's not a.
You shit your pants.
Show of outward.
You're not being macho about it.
No, for me personally anyway. It's not. It's for me. It's not an outward show of anything. It's more of like, okay, I can still do it. I'm good. Like for me, I fear the day that I'm to the point where I just can't do it anymore. So it's an intrinsic thing for me. It's not a show of machoism for anything. No, because I've gone to shows feeling like shit. People are like, dude, fucking go home. So it's not to look
you're
cool.
Listening
by
to the
any
voice
means.
of Stephen Macho Ortiz.
God damn it,
Stephen the Macho Man Ortiz. Yeah, man, I can't do the macho man.
Or what a performer.
Hey, I appreciate it, my daughter.
Or when a performer tells you, like, I don't feel so hot, I'm still going to do it. It's like, don't bother because you're probably going to bomb. You think that you're doing well, but you're not because you're not as sharp as normal.
So
I've definitely not gone to shows when I was sick and because I knew it was going to turn out fucking horrible.
Do you think... how do I put this? I don't even know how I'll say this. Matt Walsh has got a political agenda behind that, or is he,
Dude, he gets his fucking rocks off just fucking. He gets his rocks off just being an asshole. Nothing he says is of any intrinsic intellectual value. He just goes out and he says, well, I'm not a racist. I have black friends. Are you a woman? What's a woman? Oh, you call yourself this? Well, I'm offended. You're a piece of shit. Like, fuck off, dude.
But the question is, I hear what you're saying, and I agree with you. The question is, does he believe it really, or is he just saying it for ratings and shock value?
Both.
He believes it for them, not for himself.
Yeah. All right. It pisses me off no matter what. I can't deny that if I were in the room with him, I would fucking rip that beard off his fucking face.
God, I'd fucking.
Now,
I'd put
I
my
want to
fucking hand straight through his head.
I want to
Oh
say
my
something a little bit off topic. I want to commend Matt on his interview last night. Not once did he call Kelly Clarkson, and I know he wanted to. I know he wanted to because, and so I applaud you. Not once, and I know you wanted to. It was not that you wanted to, but it was like an intrinsic thing. Like you're so used to saying Kelly Clarkson, then you get to Kelly, and yeah.
All joking aside, and GD
change the name.
GD. No, I think that was an awesome interview last night.
One of them has to change the name, though. That's the rule. One of them, and I think it should be Clarkson. She should change her name. She should get married, like a Southern Baptist, and change her name to like I don't know what's his name. What I can't think of the guy now. The megachurch Olstein, Kelly Olstein. That's what she should be called.
That's so mean.
I know.
Why
am I mad at Kelly Clarkson?
The interview was so-so. It's the same as every other interview he does. I don't think it's any more spectacular or worse. It was Matt.
I thought it was a fantastic interview.
I didn't.
You kiss up. You're a suck up.
No, I'm not, because most of his interviews I skip because I'm sure they're gonna be. But this one was good.
So you have nothing to compare it to.
I see a couple of the others. I had to do my research before I came on the first time.
If you two want, you can take some tissues and wipe the brown shit from your nose and your mouths.
Edgar,
that's a lot of talk from a Frozen guy.
Yeah, Edgar McCarthy. What is Charlie McCarthy? What Edgar Bergen over here above me here? Ventriloquism without a dummy. Oh, maybe I'm the dummy.
The thing is, it's possible that Ron actually left the screen, and that's one of his stills.
He's
we just don't know.
He's taking a piss right now.
Ron.
He took the mic with him to the bathroom. He's actually pissing right now.
That's right.
He looks very stoic. You froze up very stoic. Anyway, hopefully Ron will get unfroze as soon as. See, he got unfrozen. I didn't think of it as I tried not to think of it as an interview, as a conversation. I think she's a really fun person to listen to. I love deep conversations, and she has a lot to bring to the table. I'm just surprised, and I think I said this to her, that George Carlin's daughter would become a spiritual person, somebody who was interested in. And she said he knew that she was studying religion and Buddhism and supported it and was behind it. And he was kind of, because I always got the impression, and maybe you did too, or maybe you didn't. I just felt like he was always a hardcore atheist, believing that there was nothing.
That was my thought.
Nothing be outside of this experience, the physical earthly experience. And
it was Carlin's,
but he could be that way for himself comedy. And still. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. It was Carlin's comedy. So the first comedy I ever heard was a Carlin vinyl album, and then it was Carlin that started my doubt. It was an HBO special in like '99, and he went real hard into religion on it, or maybe it was 2001, maybe it was after 9/11. I can't remember, but either way, yeah, dude, I thought he was a staunch atheist and would have been like, not in my house.
He's just anti-religion.
My understanding, because I didn't know George Carlin that well at all, not once that we ever met, but my understanding is that he felt that way for him. That's like his choice, but your life choice is your life choice. Yeah. Yes, though I'm a staunch, atheist, that's not going to stop me from, appreciating you and your freedoms.
That is not the typical atheist by any means. I mean, most of them, I always called atheism the religion of no, is because most atheists want to prove to people who believe in something that they're wrong and make them feel stupid for even
when I was an atheist activist, that was my primary goal. That's the reason I started a nonprofit and everything.
But would you be like that for your own kids? Would you be like that to your own kids?
At the time, I absolutely would not have allowed it in my house.
Wow.
Well, you were a lot
At the
younger.
time.
I think Carlin was probably a lot
I
wiser
was.
than you at that time. At that
Oh yeah,
point.
for sure. But yeah, I was in my early 20s. But yeah, I would have absolutely not have allowed it.
I think a lot of 4-year-olds have been a lot more wiser than you in your 20s.
I always I always go back to Carl Sagan's take on it because I think he was asked this in a scientific forum somewhere where about the existence of God. And he said, "Well, we can't even begin to have a conversation about that because the word God it has 8 billion definitions to it, and until we can, there's Einstein's God, there's the religious God, there's the biblical God, and until we can settle on what the fuck the word means, we can't really decide what it is." He said, but most physicists are open to the idea that there are things we don't understand and forces within the universe that we don't understand, and where actual spark of creation comes from. Nobody can ever.
Yeah, times changed a lot. I mean, his phrase "extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence." That was a big thing, but I think physics as a whole has evolved a lot since then, has learned a lot. And that's why they're even open to that possibility, because they're slowly discovering things that 20 years ago were an impossibility.
All right, don't ever say "as a whole" in the middle of a sentence like that.
like for me, I don't subscribe to any religion, and I don't really give a fuck what.
Wait, let me pull up the subscribe button then. Hold on, then you can subscribe to subscribe to this religion right there.
Like my wife is a DC, a dirty Catholic, and we had the kids. She wanted to get the kids baptized, so they're baptized as dirty Catholics. And occasionally she'll show up at the church on the major holiday events. When they try and do the show spectaculars, like on Christmas or Easter. Which I got to say, churches step it up, because your events suck on your major holidays. I mean, honestly, do something better. The music, the robes. I mean, are you even spending money on costumes, or is it all that money going to lawsuits? But anyway.
But besides that, we learned this week that the Pope cock blocks kids. So
yeah. But I don't care when people start talking about religion. Just don't involve me in it. I mean, I have more respect for cults than I do a regular organized religion.
I was hoping I could teach you to be an altar boy.
Yeah, Ron. I was really planning on having you over. I was really planning on having you over for our September Seder.
Yeah.
We were having a Seder this September. We were going to have you over.
We couldn't wait for Purim to give Ron
no,
pure.
Because my Jewish kids are gone. I was trying to wait for Sukkot, but I think that's in November.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I wish I was really naive and could just jump into a religion, but I can't do it.
Well, religion is again a whole separate thing from the idea of believing that in whether it's creation or God, or whatever you want to label it. That is not necessarily the same thing as subscribing to a religion.
No, I mean, I say if you believe in creation, that God created things, then you're definitely an idiot, because all the evidence out there. But I don't hold that against you. You're just an idiot if for believing that.
Yeah, I kind of in the mindset that I'm sure there's something out there. I'm convinced they're not involved with anything, and I don't think they created anything. I just think they were just there from the beginning. They're there now, and that's it. There's too much evidence. There's too much evidence for how things came to be. We have the knowledge. We're learning the shit about how the universe began and how it's growing and how it might end. We know how the earth was made. We know how people and animals evolve. We have all that information. You can't just sit there and say a magic sky daddy said poof, here comes something cool.
See, this is what really gets me about people who don't understand it. Well, how God did not say poof, okay? God does not go around yelling poof. It's ta-da! It's really annoying.
My bad.
It's ta-da! No, God never once yelled poof. He made that sound, but that came out of his ass. Poof, okay? But he never said it. He was misquoted. You need to spend a day or two in church.
Yeah.
You need to learn, boy. You need to learn.
We'll get off this subject of faith and religion and all what the hell we're talking about here. But how far have you strayed from where your parents? This is what surprises me is that as somebody who, admittedly, she says I was wrong about this, but definitely put out a vibe that he was a hardcore atheist, could raise a child who'd be a Buddhist. That's surprising to me. How far different are your beliefs about this stuff than your parents? Are they?
I don't think that he raised her to be a Buddhist. I think he raised her to be happy, and
He raised her, and she became a Buddhist.
Right.
But most people don't stray that far from their parents' beliefs. That's what I'm trying to say in a very awkward way. Most times, you come back.
It depends what you mean by beliefs. If his belief was "fuck God," he's an idiot, then she strayed. But if his belief was what works for you, I just want you to be happy, then she fulfilled it. You know, we had to, so my parents' belief was get the fuck out of my house. And I did. So I didn't stray very far from that.
Yeah, she seemed to be happy, but you can never know if somebody's happy. I mean, so
happy-ish. Yeah.
Happy-ish.
Yeah, happy-ish.
Do you guys have any idea what exposure therapy actually means? I mean, I could guess what it
it's
go out Arctic naked and
it is winter solstice related. You get wet and you go out on the winter solstice, and if you come back healthy, you're saved. If you go out,
I'm pretty sure it's hanging out. I thought it just meant hanging out in the automotive department at Walmart and showing guys your dick when they come around the corner. It's like,
but if you're a woman,
that's
close.
I'm pretty
sure.
If you're a woman. Well, I'm pretty sure it's exposing yourself to something that's traumatized you in the past. So if it has been guys with their dicks out at Walmart, you got to expose yourself to it to get over the fear of it.
Expose yourself to it. You live with it daily. I mean, you're that's the part that confuses me. It's like because if this was in writing, so I'm thinking she's not exposing herself to it. She's exposing herself to others and saying,
nice. I mean, it's whatever you love to do. I mean, if you love flashing your pussy, go ahead. To me, it is funny when a woman will flash her pussy right in front of you, just stand up and start rubbing her clit and piss all over the floor.
Well, I think it's like having like megalophobia, where you're scared of really big, like things in general, right? Like penises, boats, statues, whatever, right? So you expose yourself to them to get over it. Or like if you're scared of the ocean, you go out on a cruise to get over it.
So she's listening. She's not going to come. She's not going to show up here today. Now,
I'm not going to come either. If that's all we're talking about,
right? We basically disrespected whatever she's going to explain about how she became an author.
Well, I mean, welcome to Coffee with the Dog. If we're not joking about it, it ain't worth talking about. I don't care.
All right. Next week.
Did you by chance did you pay a visit to Trump while he was in your neck of the woods?
No way.
How'd that go?
For all the talk about how the Secret Service is not protecting him, you couldn't. If you didn't have a ticket, you weren't getting even in the parking lot. If you didn't already buy your grifting ticket to see the thing, and it was just like none of these fucking people. They might as well all be Asian. I'm telling you, behind the wheel. There's no difference between a MAGA person and an Asian driving a car.
That's gotta stop Asian hate, man.
I don't know. I think most Asians I know would agree. I don't know.
I don't know if it's true. But if I were, let's say, the prime minister of president of China or Japan or South Korea, I would ban South driving cars, because that says I don't trust my people to drive. Give us self-driving cars, and I would not buy into it. I would ban self-driving cars. It says, look, you fuckers are going to drive. We're going to show the world we do not fit that stereotype. We're not going to have self-driving cars in these countries, and just show the world they're wrong. We can drive.
And then everybody would be dead. The entire population would be dead. I have a friend from Malaysia, and he jokes, and I've ridden in a car with him, and He jokes about how bad a driver he is, but it's fucking scary as hell. If you're in the passenger seat in his car, you are definitely shitting yourself, having a stroke. Oh, thank
But
you.
is it bad driving or is it like really artful dodging? Because
it's bad driving.
There's a lot of okay. I have not been in one of the countries that you're referring to. My nephew's traveled the world. He's been in those countries, and he described what it's like to be on the back of the motorcycle while they're doing all these maneuvers and in the cars. And some of the places they can't even have the cars. It's like everybody's got to have a motorcycle or a bicycle. And he's described it to me. And it sounds to me like you really have to be talented to not have a wreck every 30 seconds. Yeah. And that's not bad driving. That's just, we're calling it bad driving because we're seeing all this. But they are avoiding obstacles. And if you're getting your passenger to there safely, or, okay, they may be shaken and scared, but if you get there without having an accident, that's good driving considering what's going on around you.
Can we get
it's
some
like NASCAR?
Can we get some, like you guys are being Asian and directed at me, of course, Asian racist in comments? Can we get some people just complaining about?
Okay, so the one of the two car accidents I've ever been in, one of them was an Asian driver who was driving, and it was the worst accident ever. It was horrible. I don't even know how I got out of it, to be honest with you. We ended up in a ditch. The car was broken in half. I had to have the fire department pull me out. He was Asian.
Okay, the two worst accidents I've ever been in, and both of which could have taken my life, but no, they didn't because of weird circumstances, weird science. I'm not saying by the grace of God. I can explain science why I survived both accidents. Both drivers were black women. Both drivers were black women. You don't hear me going around saying black women shouldn't be driving. You know, you don't hear that.
But
black women will kill you.
Were they African black or were they Haitian black, and were they eating dogs and cats while they were?
They were Baltimore black. They were like Native American. They were citizen. They were raised in the black.
Oh, so they were eating cock.
Yeah, he's just saying women can't drive. That's all.
No, I'm not even saying. I didn't even say that. I get it. Yeah. I didn't even say that. I'm saying if I were
misogynist, anti-Asian, racist, anti-Haitian cock eater.
Hey, you know what's crazy though is I can't use my feet when I drive, and I've never been in an accident.
You mean you've never caused one? You just said you were into, right?
I've never been the driver in an accident.
Right, you never caused one.
Never caused one.
Now,
because you could be a passenger and cause an accident. You know, you could be a passenger.
That's true, but I've never been a passenger. I've never caused an accident, period.
Now, let me just say, this is the first time the news actually like really hit home, because we have verification that the packages that Stephen mailed out yesterday with anthrax in it got to their location. So
no, that
wasn't anthrax. That was cocaine and fentanyl.
You're supposed to mail that to me.
I know, it went to the wrong place.
That's a credit to the post office. They're delivering the packages on time to their destination. That has nothing to do with Stephen. All Stephen did was make sure he had the correct postage on there.
Right.
That's true. And actually, you know what? The person at the post office is an accomplice, because I was actually wrong initially, and they helped me correct the postage. Now it's their fault that the anthrax went there. And the fentanyl, I don't know where the fentanyl and cocaine went, because the anthrax was supposed to go to Matt, because he was supposed to think it was cocaine and fentanyl. But none of it worked out. So now and it arrived on time. I was expecting a 2-day delay so I could get away. So now I'm fucked.
I'm looking for something that came in my mail yesterday, which
I came in your mail.
I think it was. I'm sure it's not the first time you came in a mail. I got a package that said confidential for Matt Napo only, and it was opened. And I thought, it's in the mailbox. I mean, clearly already opened. The guy delivered it. Like, he didn't flag it or anything, go back. I don't know who's responsible.
Well, you can't call him that.
Yeah, I didn't. But so I'm just thinking, there's people who are sending it out. They should not write confidential, Matt. Now, makes it look important. Put like, this is a bill. And if you put this is a bill, nobody's going to open it. I don't want to open his bill.
You won't open it. They had to say, sweepstakes no.
Actually, I think I threw it out. This was. Oh, here is this it? Oh yeah, here it is. Confidential. Big stamp on it like that. Confidential, and then it came like this, ripped open. It's like,
what's in
you
it?
know what? Who is responsible for that?
Confidential. If he tells you, it's no longer confidential.
Well, somebody should get fired over that or call in sick.
You're
And then
supposed to report that
send
kind of
off
shit
to them.
because that's like isn't that like a federal thing?
It is. It's a federal crime to mess with the mail.
Yeah, I reported a theft out of an envelope, and yeah, they don't give a fuck. They don't care.
I know they don't. I doubt they ever did. To be fair, I just feel like they did it to appease people.
Well, if I called and said there was a white powder in there, they'd care. Well, oh, wait a minute. Are you an elector? If you're not an elector, by the way, I just want to say I got a thing from one of these people that wants to like bilk politicians for, we'll do your campaign management, marketing for you and all that stuff. I got a thing that showed where I am in the polls. 0 fucking votes. It's just funny. Here's what we're showing in the polling for where I'm running for Congress. Like I forget I'm running for Congress, but basically,
was it within the margin of error?
Yeah, in the margin of error, plus or minus $1 billion, you're getting 0.
Okay, so you could be at -3 or +3.
Yeah, 3 people are voting against me. I don't know how, but it's just funny to see why are you even sending me this late? You're going to help me improve my polling numbers from 0 to what in the next 5 weeks? Or
0 to 2.
Yeah, 0 to 2%. Oh, I'll invest everything I have then just to become a less embarrassing loser than I'm going to be anyway. I don't know. It's just.
Bless you.
You're welcome.
Try muting your mic instead of turning your head and snotting into your wrist.
Yeah. So next week, we'll light on guests. And here's the thing. I did not want to go fishing. I'm purposely, I'm reaching out to people I want to be guests rather than just letting any comedian who looking to get their dick wet in the podcasting arena have some time, because it gets a little tiring to be talking to open mic nights like, how long you been doing it? 3 weeks, that kind of thing. So I'm not fishing, but we are light on guests for next week, and everybody
Ron, you're muted.
Yeah, I was just going to say, try meeting these open micers in person.
Oh, I have. So most of the people I've asked to be on have not even responded to me lately, and I'm because usually I have no problem getting a rejection or like I don't do it. You're not big enough for me. All this stuff. There were several big names that I had reached out to. People who are very well-known headliners. Some of them have gotten back, but the majority have no response at all. So
that's the response I got on the some I sent out as well for that. Thing to send out to people. Yeah.
Next week we have almost nothing booked except Wednesday. We have Sean Smith, who it spells her name Sian Smythe, Smyth. We talked about her with Chad Ryden. She is a prostitute, working prostitute in Australia. And she has done stand-up completely in the nude. I think we talked about this before, which would be really fucked up for me in the audience. I don't think I could enjoy a comedy show with a woman standing there nude telling me jokes. But she's going to be on Wednesday morning at 9:15, and I had Jackie scheduled for 10:15 on Wednesday. And then last night I said, by the way, the guest before you is a working prostitute who's done stand-up in the nude. If you want to come on early. He said, I'll be there at 9:14. I guess that titillated him in some way. So
please, there are ladies present. So I choose to expose myself. Please, there are ladies present.
Are there? Who? Stephen and GD are both doing their homework. What are you doing? You're both at the same time decided to do your taxes or something. What is?
No, I apologize. Go ahead.
No, I'm not doing my taxes. I'm doing his taxes.
Oh,
That would be rude to be doing my taxes while
okay.
you're talking.
I'll use HR block for you tomorrow. Okay.
Can I have the whole block while we talk about HR block? The whole block talking about HR block.
Yeah.
My wife was picking up my dry cleaning for the trip tonight. So
Oh yeah, you're going back to Missouri or KC, right?
back to KC, yes sir.
Now you said in the thing it was a business trip for her or for you.
It's her business trip, but I may
And
have
it's
been
none of
able
his.
to sneak a couple 5-minute sets in while I'm there. So
Do you know James Inman?
I know of James Inman.
You should go to James Inman's house and just say, "Hi, Matt Napo sent me," and report back on how that works out.
Am I gonna have to hurt somebody?
No,
don't send me somewhere I'm gonna get in a fight.
No, you wouldn't get in a fight. James, first of all, he's too old to fight. But he wouldn't fight you with physical way. He would scream at you, scream incoherent shit at you, and sound like basically he's ready to shit his diaper all the time. But no, he's not a fighter. He's not a. Put it this way, he wanted his 85-year or 88-year-old father to fight Doug Stanhope for him because he was too much of a pussy to fight Stanhope. And Stanhope's a little guy. I mean, basically, I could beat Stanhope with my dick.
Oh, Stanhope's a tiny dude. Yeah, I could knock him over laying on the floor. That's easy.
Right.
But
so he wanted to sick his 88-year-old father on Stanhope. Literally tried to get his father to beat up Stanhope. So you know. That's where he is as a fighter. No, you don't have to worry about that. I just want to tweak him a little bit because we haven't talked in about 2 years, and we never really were pals. I always made fun of him, and so.
I mean, I'm down to do it. That's fine. I just wanted to make sure I didn't need to bring like
ring the bell and say, "Hi, Matt Napo sent me. He said to say hello." I just was wondering what the response would be.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Hey, are you not going to use that hot promo that I texted yesterday, Matt?
You sent me I didn't get it. What was it? You got it? You load it up. I don't have
to load it up.
Well, if it's coming in text, you have to be. Oh, these guys are just fucking texting each other. It's gonna be something gross. I'm not gonna look at it.
Oh, the stuff I sent last night was horrible. Look. The videos that Ron sends out by opening them has fucked my algorithm.
I bet.
It's horrible.
The videos I send out are tasteful. The videos I send out are tasteful, but nobody looks at them. Okay, well, Steven looked and did one of these things or something, and I think he did that so he could see the balloons on his screen. He didn't do that for me. He just.
Now, why didn't it work? Why didn't it work for Erica yesterday when she did this? Look, it's not working for me.
It's super finicky. I don't know why.
Oh, I got to be on an iPhone? Is that the deal?
It's got to be iPhone or iPad. It's got to be an Apple product. If she was on, I'm pretty sure she was on an iPhone.
Because the balloons went up when she did something.
She did the peace sign and it did the balloons.
Right.
But the two thumbs should have done the fireworks and then one thumb should have done the little boop, boop, boop.
Let's try to. I mean, this is a promo, a non-paid promo for Gizmo Power. Somehow, it took until looking at what AI producing clips of this stuff for me to realize she is offering a remarkable deal that she's gonna bring. They're gonna bring one of those portable powered mega units. Portable mega units to set up on your property. They have to find the ideal spot on your property where it's going to get all the sunlight, no trees blocking. But they'll bring from wherever she is. I think she's in LA. The company is in LA.
Well, she lives in Florida.
Okay,
and I think they have a home in California and in Florida. But I think right now she's living in Florida. But they're trapped right now. I think they're in Albuquerque.
All right, but wherever the shop is, or wherever the warehouse with these things is, they're going to bring it to your house. You pay nothing for 9 days, and if you don't like it, they
90.
take it back.
Is it 90?
90 days? I thought she said 9 days. Opus chopped it up. It said 9 in the text, and I read more than listen. So Maybe if 90 days would be even better. But so you don't pay anything. You see if it works. You see if it's saving you money. And then they start talking turkey about financing at that point. If you don't like it, they can take it back. That's an unbelievable deal. I can't imagine why anybody wouldn't want to at least try that. No strings attached. They're not going to, there's no way out. It's not like fucking buying an app and they're fucking going to keep charging you. It's going to keep coming out. And you have, like money keeps coming out of my bank account every fucking day.
I've had my property evaluated for solar because we were gonna take advantage of a similar deal to get roof panels. We got our roof done, and where we're at with all the trees, they said it's not feasible.
Yeah, now our roof is perfect for it. Now but because hers is mobile, where she'd have to put it, actually I think we'd probably get like 75% of the because we have like this huge pine tree right next to our driveway, and it creates a lot of shade. But it's depending on how far the driveway.
We create a lot of shade on this program.
Oh, snap, dog. Look, if we had no trees for like 3 miles around, our roof would be fucking perfect because the front of our house faces right where the sun rises. And then the backside, right where the sun fucking sets, man, it's perfect. We have sun exposure on both sides, but there's so many trees. It's fucking horrible.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well,
developers, get your shit together.
Bottom line is here, you got some time to either see if it saves you big dollars and is a good thing for you or not. And there's no risk. And so why would anybody not want to, I'll give it a shot and see if it's going to save me money every friggin' month for the rest of my life. And it's not going to cost me anything to find out. Why would anybody not take her up on that? Gizmopower.com. Go to gizmopower.com. Get on it now. I'm going to do it. And I'm going to report every couple of weeks probably on what I'm seeing on this kind of stuff.
When you get it, can you see if you can use the top to make grilled cheese?
No, what was the last part of that?
I think he wants to know if you can use the top to make grilled cheese.
Grilled cheese.
Are you ready for some hot coffee? It's only 10 seconds.
Yeah. Go ahead,
it takes more than 10 seconds to make hot coffee. Come on.
Wait. Oh, yeah, I saw this one. That's why I didn't open it. I didn't get to play the button. Look what it did to me. It made me blush or flush or scratch.
It made him pale.
All the blood left your head and went to your other head.
Mine don't speak with pale tongue or something, or forked tongue. White man.
All of your blood left your head and went to the other head. That's why you turned white.
That's from a new AI tool I'm playing with.
Called homoapp.com.
Somewhere out there right now there's a couch and AI is sitting on it saying, God, look what the shit they're making me do. I can't keep going. I can't keep going to work like this every day.
What we don't know is that AI is really some poor fat guy sitting in an office somewhere making this stuff a reality, and he's just like, I
can't do this. I can't.
And I do have another Tom Cruise video that I released.
Well, before we get off of that, just because I'm thinking that app was definitely made by a Republican at the Republican event. Right? All right. Tom Cruise is back. Ladies and gentlemen, here now on Coffee with the Dog, my good friend of the last 8 seconds, Tom Cruise.
I love raw dogging. Does anyone else here love it? I'm happy to see we have some other doggers out there. But I got into raw dogging when I was a kid, and I have never stopped since. That may surprise a lot of you. I remember it just like it was yesterday, I was over at my friend's house. We were hanging out and he wanted to show me something, but I could also hear the nervousness in his voice. When I walked into the room, you could feel the tension. We had spent all day playing and wrestling in the yard, so we were both sweaty and tired. He turned slowly to me, and there it was in his hand, a raw hot dog straight from the package. I grabbed it and wrapped my lips around that salty roll of mystery leavings. I chewed and chewed, then the flavor just exploded into my mouth, and that is when I knew I am forever a raw dogger. Raw dogger. Raw dogger. Raw dogger.
That's tasty.
You could do without that last little clip there.
You know he can't. You know. Emotionally, Ron can't do without that last part.
I'm surprised Ron hasn't made a whole video featuring that scene and it morphing into things.
Well, I just got a phone call, but I'm not kidding about this. The voicemail says from Tom C. I don't know any Tom C.
Does it say Tom cease and desist? Is that what this is?
Well, I was thinking I remember that day, and I don't remember it being a hot dog.
Listen,
wow, this is a long voicemail. I'll even must be.
That's definitely Tom cease and desist.
It's his lawyers. Yeah, it's definitely his lawyers.
What the fuck is going
You know
on
what
here?
though? Hey, the Church of Scientology, those motherfuckers are everywhere. They could be watching this right now.
Well, I think I told this story before. I admit if I did. I'm certain I did. There was a girl I was she was my girlfriend in college. Her name was Twana Fondren. We used to call her Twana Fuck. She had one breast larger than the other. I mean, significantly.
All women do.
Yeah. But so after I had a breakup somewhere with a girlfriend, like somewhere around 2002 or something, 2003, MySpace was the thing. And I found her on MySpace. And we said hello to her and then started email back and forth. And she was in Scientology. She was divorced from her husband, who was supposedly pretty high up in the thing. And she said they were spying on her. And she said that I had to stop and get security, stop contacting her and get security and make sure, because they knew about me now and they were going to be coming after me for contacting her. I was like, you're just fucking being paranoid and stuff. And then also, crazy stuff started happening. I started getting like lots and lots of hang up phone calls and all that kind of stuff. And I was getting paranoid about it. So when you say, I believe that they are very active in monitoring everybody.
Probably already labeled a suppressive person. We are probably suppressive people by association, and it's especially when you have any following at all and you start dogging them. I got blocked by the Church of Scientology twice.
They just made you freeze up. Miscavige or whatever his name is. He put the freeze up button on you.
God damn it, Miscavige, you piece of shit!
You froze up just like this.
Are you
on the radio? I was gesturing about eating a hot dog with Tom Cruise.
Are you doing news?
Am I? All right, I will.
I have a Trump clip from a rally.
Play the Trump. Was it at Uniondale yesterday?
I don't know where this is from, but this is here. I'll play it.
My name is Isaiah. I'm a third-generation UAW worker, and my question to you, sir, is: what do you see as the major threats to the future of Michigan manufacturing, auto working jobs, and what will you do to eliminate those threats, sir?
Okay, so I'll get into another little bit of a long answer, because when you say major threat, to me we have one really major threat. That's called nuclear weapons.
Factories though, in Michigan. So if you're like in Wisconsin or in Chicago or Tennessee, wherever else they make cars, you don't have to worry about nuclear fallout. It's just the people in Michigan that really, nuclear weapons is a threat to their job. Right?
Nothing fucks up an assembly line like a nuclear blast. I mean...
I don't know. Purple diarrhea seems to have the same kind of effect.
I mean, that'd be a close second for sure.
Trump was on Fox News last night, and he was talking about the debate, and he was talking about how the crowd went wild when he said certain things. There was no crowd at the debate.
Right.
They didn't say like, you realize there was like nobody else there.
He said the audience went wild. That's and I think Keith Olbermann said, "What audience? Where were they?"
It's not a thing. There was no. How can anyone defend this man?
President for the black population.
Whoa! I love that every time.
All right. I'm going to play the news. Well, I'll end up bombing it halfway through, but I think there's some interesting stuff going on.
Just so you know, every time I hear it, a little bit of black in me dies every day. Every time I hear it, a little bit of black.
Blessings in black for me.
Black for me, yes.
All right. You know what? Just before I play the news here, a bunch of Long Island guys are going to the Church of Satire to do a show. I think it's this weekend. It might be tonight. Long Island guys invading Pennsylvania to do Church of Satire shows. So just found out about that last night. But let's play.
Drivers have experienced a significant drop in gasoline prices in recent weeks, and the trend is expected to continue.
Gas prices have fallen about 13% from a 2024 peak in April, which translates to a reduction of nearly 50 cents per gallon, according to AAA data. The national average price of a gallon of gas is now $3.20. AAA data indicates. In 16 states, the average cost of a gallon of gas is below $3, including Texas, Georgia, North Carolina, Wisconsin, Kansas, and Iowa. Jim Kender reported.
The U.S. Coast Guard reported that it tracked a group of Russian naval vessels, including 2 submarines, as they entered U.S. waters off Alaska in what appears to be an attempt to avoid sea ice, a move allowed under international rules and customs.
The crew of the U.S. Coast Guard cutter Stratton observed the Russian military vessels crossing the maritime boundary and moving 30 miles into an area beyond U.S. territorial waters, known as the U.S. Exclusive Economic Zone. Wade Addison reporting.
Venezuela announced the arrest of a 4th U.S. citizen in connection with an alleged plot to assassinate President Nicolas Maduro following elections that the opposition claims he manipulated.
The American was detained in Caracas after reportedly taking photos of electrical installations, oil facilities, military units, according to Interior Minister Diosdado Cabello. 3 other U.S. citizens, 2 Spaniards, and a Czech national have also been arrested in Venezuela in recent weeks. One of the Americans was identified as a U.S. Navy sailor detained in Venezuela earlier this month, Paul Gomez reporting.
The FBI and the U.S. Postal Inspection Service are conducting investigations into a series of suspicious letters, some containing an unidentified substance, which were sent to election officials across the country, according to the agencies.
The Associated Press reported that packages with powder were mailed to secretaries of state and state election offices in Iowa, Kansas, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Tennessee, and Wyoming, citing officials from these states. The FBI and U.S. Postal Inspection Service are investigating a series of suspicious mailings sent to election officials in several states, the agency stated. Liam White reporting.
This is the latest news headlines.
For the first time ever, Instagram introduced accounts specifically designed for teenage users, featuring built-in privacy protections.
These new accounts, called Teen Accounts, will be automatically assigned to all Instagram users under 18, both for current teen users and those signing up. By default, users younger than 16 will require parental permission to change their account settings. These changes, which are expected to affect tens of millions of users, were announced by Instagram head Adam Mosseri. Jessica Oakley reporting.
A federal appeals court in New York upheld the sex crimes conviction of Ghislaine Maxwell, the longtime associate of the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
In March, Maxwell asked the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit to overturn her conviction and 20-year prison sentence for recruiting and grooming the underage girls whom Epstein sexually abused, arguing that she was protected by an agreement federal prosecutors in Florida made with Epstein in 2007. Kyle Norris reporting.
Renowned ballet dancer Michaela Mabonty DePrince and her adoptive mother passed away within a day of each other, their family confirmed to ABC News this week.
Michaela DePrince died on September 10th at the age of 29, and her mother, Elaine DePrince, who adopted her as a child, died on September 11th during a routine procedure in preparation for surgery, according to a family statement posted on Facebook. The DePrince family did not immediately disclose a cause of death for Michaela DePrince. Jessica Oakley reporting.
Schools in a Kentucky county reopened under heavy police presence for the first time since a massive manhunt was launched for a suspect involved in an interstate shooting that injured 5 people 11 days ago.
While the suspect, 32-year-old Joseph Couch, remained at large on Tuesday, the Laurel County Public Schools resumed classes for its nearly 9,000 students. We will not live our lives in fear, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear stated during a news conference on. The school district mentioned in a statement that the reopening plan prioritizes the safety of our students and staff. Lawrence.
So we're going to make everybody safe. This is a safety measure that we're letting kids back in school when we know there's an active shooter. Massive. Guys, I don't know how they know he's massive, but he's a massive
there's a manhunt on for a massive guy. They think that's a safety measure to put them back.
Well, yeah, put them in school because they can protect them there. That way, you know where they are.
Well, God protect. This was the thing. God saved Trump, according to him, twice. But fuck the kids.
Yeah, fuck the kids, right? Yeah. See, that's every fucking time one of these goddamn things happen, and then you hear certain people, well, God, this, God, motherfuckers. Those kids are in a casket. Those kids are never coming back. And God saved Trump. Really?
The thing is, I am like tired of comedians when they say "fuck them kids." So I'm really tired when God says it. You know, it's. I'm sorry, but it's. I mean, I'm sorry. I can't yell at comedians for saying it and not yell at God for saying it. So
I never heard a comedian say that. Maybe I'm just out of the loop.
Yeah, there's too many of them.
I've used the term "fuck them kids" on stage, but to be fair, it's a parent.
You meant your students, and you meant literally fuck them.
No, God damn it, no. I have a joke about being a parent.
I was trying to defend you.
No. I have a joke about like how I don't get into politics and have really an opinion about abortion, but as a parent, I've really thought about killing my kids a few times, and and it kind of goes like that. But
it seems subsided some, the whole fuck them kids. But yeah, probably like a year ago, it might have been at its height, and it was every fucking mic you would go to, there's at least one or two comics be like, "Fuck these kids," and it's like, come on, it's like,
See, I didn't whip that joke out until like 6 months ago. I refused to do it when it was at its peak because then you fucking fall into the mix, and nobody wants that.
I had a comedian reach out to me because she had written a joke and the punchline was "fuck them kids," and she said to me, she says, "Do you think it's being overused?" I said, "First, I think it's overused." I said, "So unless you have something really, really unique about the way you're doing it to get to that point, I wouldn't use it. I tend to stay away from those things like that, and I'm a low hanging fruit guy."
Well, it's all derived from Louis C.K.'s old bit. When he's
I was just gonna say, it sounds
I didn't even know that. Is it really?
Yeah, it's definitely that's definitely the inspiration for it. But Louis just knocked it out of the park, and everyone else is like playing catch up.
Yeah, it's really.
I just heard it thrown around on social media.
Louis C.K. is not the person to steal from because you're not gonna improve it.
Was it Louis C.K. first? Because honestly, I don't remember when Louis C.K. said it, but the first time I heard it was like one of those HBO. It was like somebody like Robin. That black guy that was
Robin Harris.
Yeah, Robin Harris. I thought was the first one, but then again, he may not have said it because I know he's the
baby's
kid.
I think that joke shows up on Louis' album Shameless, which is that thing is like 15, 17. I don't even know how old it is at this point, but it was one of his earlier albums.
Never even heard of it.
He doesn't exactly say that, but he just has this great bit about how kids are assholes, and it's fucking fabulous.
Yeah. Now, the first time I heard that premise was on HBO. There was a show called I had to look it up. There was a show on HBO. It had Wendy Malick. No, Wendy, the woman, the tall brunette woman that was in the show with Betty White and the woman from
Girls?
One Day at a Time. Yeah, Betty White, One Day at a Time. The girl from One Day at a Time. The one that married Wolfgang.
Oh yeah, you talking about that show Hot in Cleveland?
Right, but not that show. But I'm just saying the woman that played in it. She was in a show on HBO a long time ago, and her husband, who was separated, they came to the realization. They was talking about their kid, and they go, "What if our kid is just an asshole?" He goes, he says, assholes don't just crop up; they're asshole children, and parents just don't realize it. Maybe our kid is the asshole, and maybe we can fix that.
Yeah, have you ever seen the movie World's Greatest Dad with Robin Williams?
No, but I have a T-shirt that says that.
If you ever watch it, it is a dark fucking comedy written by Bobcat Goldthwait and directed by Bobcat. It is very dark,
shit.
and it explores those themes very well. And if you don't like dark comedy, the movie is not for you because it is heavily steeped, but it is so fucking funny.
Wow. Our guest is not here, and I'm just checking email, so I'm kind of doing two things at once here. She hasn't emailed me, but strangely enough, the guy who was originally scheduled for today, but then rescheduled himself for October 17th, just asked if he's still on for 9:15 today. I don't. That was an hour ago, so no. But you rescheduled. You rescheduled. I didn't reschedule. You rescheduled for October 17th. So it's just weird. I don't know where she is. Could be she's not coming.
Oh, I
So
do
guys,
have. I'm gonna load up that video of that open micer that I was telling you guys about.
oh yeah.
Every time you say the word video, I start to get nervous.
While you're doing that, I secured another gig in Denver. I took over one of the guys who's not going anymore, his roast battle spot. I'm doing a roast battle, and then I'm doing a few minutes.
Yeah, Sam Talon is not getting back to me. I should nudge him again. I've seen he's been present on Twitter a little bit, but he's not, and I hate to like fucking do it publicly. Like, hey, where are you? Sam. Our guest just arrived. I want to bring her in, but in the overtime, and this is just something to consider talking about later because I don't want to forget about this. Yesterday, there was announced there would be an interest rate cut, and we heard in the news about the gas prices coming down. This has the GOP angry. The fact that things are going to be getting better for consumers as far as prices coming down is making the GOP angry because they feel like it doesn't help them in the upcoming election. If you really care about America and you are America first type of person, you can't be angry that life improves, whether the timing of it is inconvenient for your election purposes or not. I think there's not enough attention being brought to. They're rooting for you to suffer until they get elected. And
that's obvious anyway. The show that I was talking about was called Dream On. The show that was on HBO. It was like in 1990 or something. Dream On.
All right. We'll come back to this in the overtime. Let's meet our guest. Asha, I don't know if it's Nair, and I apologize for not knowing in advance. I can never cap a break on his names that I mispronounce. She's a fantasy romance novelist by accident. It's like a very strange thing how you can become a novelist, a published novelist by accident. She's writing as part of, she's an assault survivor who is writing as part of what is called exposure therapy, which I know nothing about, and we're probably going to find out what it's about. But her readers encouraged her to become a published author, and she's here now, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome Asha. Is it Nair?
Near's fine. I will accept any pronunciation. It is totally fine. My real name is so much worse than that, so I'm quite used to.
So now I want to hear. Now I want to hear your real name.
It's Napo. Oh, you mean her? I'm sorry.
Not quite there yet. This is the first time I'm showing my face on camera, so.
Wow.
Baby steps. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
1 second while I push a button, and we're going to be moving around like the Brady Bunch here, but I want to straighten things out. This is bad. That's bad. So welcome. I'm going to bring up your book, and now fantasy is always a difficult thing for me because you're creating entire worlds from scratch, and thing that's not. Here it is. Here's the book. The Packless, what is that? And the Fey Prince. What is a Fey Prince? I'm sorry if we're being naive.
Oh, it's based off of Irish and Scottish lore, fairy lore, very old, lore that has basically transformed so much across different countries that it means a lot of different things. But this is basically, delving into that universe and using really old folklore to help, tell the story, add a little flavor, stuff like that.
Okay. Now, because this is first of all, let's back up a little bit. You became a published author, and maybe I'm stating this wrong, but by kind of it wasn't a planned thing. It was you were writing as part of this thing that's called exposure therapy, which I'm completely not informed about. But your people started reading what you were writing, and then pushed you to become a published author. Is that correct? Do I have that correct?
Yeah. I learned about exposure therapy in therapy. I've been in therapy a very long time, but in order for some people to process certain traumas, sometimes I'll give an example here. Like, let's say you're afraid of dogs. Exposure therapy would be approaching a dog, a leashed one, from a distance, and maybe next time you see a dog, you get a little bit closer. Maybe next time you kind of reach out, you let the dog smell you, and then over time you eventually kind of start to reprogram your mind, where you're bringing it back to thoughts of like, this dog is actually quite harmless to me. I really don't have anything to fear. So the exposure part is exposing yourself to your fears in order to move beyond them, and to start healing from them. So it's a very slow process and very gradual, but that's basically the gist of it.
All right, so
is there a point where you're still afraid, but you're able to function beyond it? So like, yes, I'm still afraid of dogs, but I'm not going to pee myself when I see one walk next to me on the street,
Yeah, absolutely. And it's different for everyone. Some traumas, they really, they dig in deeper, for some people than others. This process might be very easy. It might be quicker for some people. Others, it could take years. I imagine maybe even a decade or more. Maybe you might not ever, get over it. It's very different from everyone. But yes, there is definitely a lessening that is highly likely to occur from this type of therapy.
Now, is there a possibility or is there a danger of, like, let's say, overcompensating in the sense that, let's say you go from being totally afraid of dogs to being like, okay, I'm not going to say furry, but someone who's like, now I run a kennel and now I rescue dogs, and you're like, and now I don't even like my kids anymore. My dogs are my kids. The kids are out of the will. The dogs are now in the will.
Oh, absolutely. I imagine that probably any scenario you could think of is a potential, for certain people. It could very well go overboard. I don't know if that's something that happens too often. It's definitely not something I've heard of, but I imagine that it's a potential, as especially because the emotions we're dealing with are so raw. They're so they make us feel really vulnerable. So it's very possible. I'm not a psychiatrist, but these are the things I've learned. I've learned all these tools over the years, and now's the time where I'm sharing.
So where are you? Staying with the dog analogy, where are you with the dog? No.
I am probably at the point where I can probably approach the animal, but I still have very visceral reactions, psychological manifestations, where my body is feeling something and my mind is telling me it's okay, but I still do have those physical responses.
Yeah, you know what? Trauma, I think if we expect the residue of trauma to ever go completely away, I think we're kidding ourselves, because it becomes part of the fabric of who you are. You learn to deal with it and kind of move on with your life, but I don't think you ever just completely wash it from your experience, and I don't think that's necessarily a healthy thing. I think for whatever it makes you a stronger person. Not that we welcome traumatic events, but it definitely makes you a stronger person for having survived it and moved on.
I can say from personal experience, like I exposed myself. I mean, no pun intended, but I exposed myself to, like, I hated flying, and I purposely took a job that required 90% travel. And
That's
at this
brave.
point,
Good for you.
I was like fearful of it, but now I've been close to I've been on 300 flights now, and it's just something that I do, and I've kind of taken that same approach to anxiety. Sometimes I'll have panic attacks, but then I tell myself just like shut up, enjoy it, and we're gonna do this anyway.
Wow.
Now, in all fairness, Ron has been on 300 flights, but he's been banned from 276. So
Yeah.
it's a trade.
Because he freaked out in the cabin, right?
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I had a panic attack this year where I had to go to the hospital because I couldn't stop hyperventilating. It was like having the hiccups. So yes,
Yeah.
sometimes it's very hard to control, and I can't blame you.
So in your writing, how far advanced is your writing compared to where you are? Your characters, are they like, because that's the point of the exposure is to help you, but your
Yes.
characters, how far advanced are they?
Right. Usually there's a character that's straight off the bat, right out of trauma. And usually there's another character to kind of balance that out with their knowledge and their experience. And they basically represent the tools that I've learned along the way. And I would love to give an example for this if you would let me.
Sure.
Okay. So in book 2, there is a woman who was a pleasure slave, and she was just liberated. And the person who rescues her, he comes from a very educated background. And at the same time, I was researching skin renewal, and I learned exactly at this point in the novel where she learns that the skin renews itself once a month. And what he tells her is, he says, did you know this? And do you know what that means? She says, no. And he says, that means in a month, your skin will have never known an unwanted touch. So as I'm learning these things, my characters are learning it. And basically the reader just follows right along in the process, just realizing and learning these things. So it's a mix. It's bringing fresh trauma into it and then having my tools applied, and introduced.
Where does the therapeutic result come from? Does it come from the writing or the reading?
Oh, you mean me reading my own work?
Where does it become therapeutic? Because we're telling a story. I'm just assuming writing through it, it must be a little difficult to write, but where do you see the benefit? Is it in the writing, or is it in when other people respond to it, or finally start kind of show empathy or understand the feeling from it? Where does the therapeutic part of it come
mostly from the writing, because I do come to these realizations using my tools, introducing myself to fresh scenarios and having to cope with those. And it allows me to either pull punches or push things where I'm uncomfortable. And, that's the whole point of exposure therapy, is to kind of push your limits a little bit and desensitize you. So it absolutely does come from mostly from the process of coming up with the story and the writing. However, and I learned this after I started publishing chapters, there is a lot of validation that comes from my readers. And though not everyone's experienced trauma, I've had a lot of people saying they can very much relate and they've healed on their own. And for me, that is healing in its own way, because then I feel like I'm contributing to the world and I am seen, and part of my trauma is feeling not seen, unheard. So that was an unexpected source of validation and recovery for me. And it's just been feeding me. Definitely one of the few things in my life that I'm absolutely getting my batteries charged from.
Just putting it, because you use the word desensitized, just putting it in the fantasy realm protect you? Is that a protective device for you, rather than writing it in a modern urban setting, or just in modern times in a very realistic sense? Is that a mechanism for protecting your own psyche?
You got it right on it. Yeah, that is 100% the reason why I had to do it in a fantasy medieval older age period, because if it was modern, I would not be able to cope with it. It'd feel too real. It would just be too close to home. So I had to push it, and I had to bring fantasy, and I had to have some of the characters, like werewolves, to kind of push it, making them a little bit less human, able to, explore a little bit like raw emotions and more intensity, and just to push it at a careful distance so that I'd be able to push my limits with it. So I absolutely could not. Maybe someday I can bring it to a modern setting, but no.
So now, are you still writing for the therapy, or are you writing, or have you gotten to the point where you're writing because you love writing?
Mostly for the therapy, but I did not expect to fall in love with the writing. Most of that has to do with the effect it has on other people, and I absorb that validation, and my readers have become my family. We are so close now. They've shared their own things, and it is an absolutely beautiful, thriving community, and that has just pulled me further into it and making me feel I can contribute, and that's fulfilling in its own way. But I still do write for therapy. I still have so much. I can't imagine myself stopping anytime soon, because even though I've made progress, there's still so much work, and I'm just not even close to being there yet. But I can tell it is working, and it is occasionally blowing my own mind on accident.
Right. So you've written 8 books currently, right? Or
We're in the works, but yes, eight fairly hefty, 160,000 words. I mean, these aren't short little novellas. They have lore. They're deep dives.
Now, forgive me, but when you're in this process of writing, because the creative process always, I love hearing about people's creative process, and because everybody's got something different, even though there are some commonalities run through it. When you're in the zone and you're writing, and you've just written like far more than you intended to when you sat down or whatever, is it always the therapeutic part of it always in your mind, or you just do you lose it and sometimes just enjoy being in the zone? You know what I'm saying? Just to be in the creative process and just allow yourself to just be in the ecstasy of creation.
Yes, absolutely. The beautiful part of the fantasy percentage of it is it is such a nice break from the heavier parts of the book. So let's say I finished a chapter that's really raw, really emotional, very traumatic and difficult for me to write. I can now focus a little bit on developing lore, a little bit on. Right now I'm learning Scottish Gaelic because it was for this book, because I wanted to do a little bit of justice to the culture itself. So that part of it has been a beautifully welcome and part of a little break from it. And I love old lore. I love putting a new spin on it. I love adding my own imaginative flourishes. And so yeah, it's definitely its own euphoria.
All right.
So what is your palate cleanser? I mean, the book is like therapy, but what is your palate cleanser?
What
the thing that
happened?
you do?
Your mic just turned into a godlike something just changed.
Nothing. Nothing. I haven't touched it.
Wow.
So what is your palate cleanser? What is it that you do to just bring yourself joy and escape from
outside of writing?
Stuff? Yeah.
Oh boy. This is probably the ADHD's fault, but I have just a million different creative hobbies. I write music. I illustrate. I just finished cover art for a fellow author's next book. I love video games. I will just get totally sucked into a video game. It's just so immersive. I can't read anymore, which is a little bit frustrating, but it was a I don't want to say sacrifice. It was a switch I was willing to make, just because it's too distracting from what I was writing, and I kind of get confused and not able to focus. But outside of it, I do have, and then I have my cats. That's not a hobby.
This might be
cats are a joyful obligation, I guess.
They're a comfort. They're a comfort.
Yeah.
But yes, write music, paint, other things. Before I got sick, I love driving up to Saratoga and doing archery. It's just a lot of different stuff.
Now, what instrument do you write on?
Oh, I mean, right now I'm on a PC laptop.
I think he meant music. What instrument?
Instrument. Yeah, that makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a keyboard. I played trumpet when I was a little kid. I have a lever harp, but mostly recording off the keyboard into Logic, the recording software, and then just kind of composing stuff from there.
This might be a little bit, I don't know, deep, or I'm not. My intent here is not to kind of be controversial on this stuff. But earlier you said not everybody has experienced trauma. I think I disagree with that. I think everybody has had some form of trauma. Certainly, birth is trauma. To start out with, we all go through that.
Right.
But that's not a trauma that we remember for the most part, I think. But
I think that's perfectly reasonable. I generally try not to do my best to try not to speak for other people, just because I really want them to get their own interpretation. So I only ever represent myself when I speak, but that's totally a viable thought for sure.
So, but where I was going with this, earlier on we were talking about faith and religion and what all that means to different people and stuff. And last night I had a conversation. We were talking about purpose and people looking for purpose. And I'm just this could be therapeutic for you. It could if it's in any way off-putting, just slap me. I'm fine with that. But I was like, I've been searching for the meaning of my life. What the hell am I doing here all my life? And this introspective. Do you feel like, because your books have helped people, do you feel like that everything that has happened to you has happened for a purpose, for a reason, to bring you to this being the purpose of your life, to help other people overcome trauma or deal with trauma?
It's definitely something that I've thought about on occasion. I mean, I have major depressive disorder. I face a lot of my own very conflicting thoughts, and I can see things from, I think one of my struggles is I can see things from many different perspectives. Part of me feels like I have found kind of what I'm supposed to be doing. The other part of me is kind of saddened by the thought of this being what I'm meant to do, because that kind of meant that the pedophile who took advantage of me, that was his purpose, to do that to me. So it kind of,
I never even thought of it in that.
it kind of validates their role in it, and that just kind of gives. I mean, I have goosebumps right now just thinking about it. So I mean, there's the other side, and there's also kind of giving that credit to the criminal too. And for me, that is an uncomfortable thought. For sure.
Well, let me just try to spin that in a more. I don't know if this is just me trying to rationalize, because it definitely put a little hair on the back of my neck standing up about.
Sorry.
Because it sounds like pure evil then, but maybe that is not. They weren't intended to do that, but now this is part of the thing that they had to go through to deal with the evil within them, and not necessarily intended to make you a victim. And I don't know if victim is the right word for you, if you want
we use survivor, but
yeah.
Either way, like in court, you would probably call it.
But not necessarily that anything was intending for this to happen to you in order for those people to exercise whatever. Were they ever held accountable?
I have no knowledge of that. I was so young that all I knew is that the next day they disappeared. So I heard that they were removed from their.
Wow. Would that help to know? I'm just curious. Would it help to know if there was accountability, went to prison or whatever?
I've actually thought about that a lot this year for the first time. I contacted my parents. I asked them if they knew anything. They barely remember it, and which was painful. But I had considered calling my hometown's police office just to see if there are records on it. I feel like it would help to get some closure. I don't know if opening that, I don't know how to word it, I guess can of worms would do me any good, or if moving on would serve me better. I am very much of the mind that whatever this person was thinking at the time, I know that people who tend to prey on others have their own trauma. So it's not like I've learned to forgive.
Right.
Especially because of book one. It made me realize how much anger was draining me over the years, just sucking all my energy. So I'm still on the fence about that. I feel like I would like to get closure, but at the same time, I don't know if it would serve me to put energy into that.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Believe me, when you say you've learned to forgive, I'm envious of you, because I would love to be a more forgiving person. We were talking about this last night. I've explored the subject of radical forgiveness, and certainly in
That's
your
a tool.
case,
Yeah.
that is radical forgiveness, where it's something really. People can take it from good, the words good and evil, whatever they want. I think it was an evil thing that happened to you, and to be able to forgive that is really divine. I mean,
don't know if it's actual. I do struggle with it, because there are occasions where I am more vulnerable, maybe more depressed, and I maybe might feel a spark of anger. But I think for the most part, I have forgiven it. It's just there is still a little bit that does come back to me. But I think ultimately I have forgiven. It's just in my vulnerable times, these things come back. So I don't know if for me it's ever possible to really 100% clear that. But for me, in the most part, when I'm in wise mind, when I feel like I am being reasonable and balanced, I definitely have. So yeah, it feels very complicated, but
yeah, no, of course,
it is what it is.
of course, the whole subject is very complicated. I have a friend who was abused by a man. He's a boy, and he was abused by a man when he was a teenager, and just buried it within his subconscious.
And it's so hard for men to come out about that. Just
Right. And there was an event on television of the Penn State scandal that just drove him into it, brought back all those memories. He found himself in a fetal position, laying on the floor crying, and that realized, like 30 years after the event, that he had to do something about it. He had to confront his abuser, track them down, went there with video cameras, and set up a ruse, and had the guy come out with his wife. I think he thought he was winning a prize or something. And he came out, and then he confronted him and said, "You remember me?" And then it basically got the guy to admit on videotape what had happened in front of his wife. I think his wife heard it for the first time, and it ruined his life. I'm not sure that was helpful, but it seemed to have made a profound change in him, just to be able to confront them. Now, he was offered, and they still have not made this documentary that they shot about this whole thing public. But I think he is a changed person just from the fact that he was able to confront his abuser and get him to admit to it, and actually sort of apology. It was never going to do it. But do you think that is the idea of just being able to confront the person is necessary to move on from it?
For me, because I wasn't really given a choice.
But you are. I'm sorry to interrupt, but you're confronting them in your novels.
Right.
Yeah. So, I'm not to interrupt you there, but I think in some way you are confronting it, even if it's not the real person.
Right.
It's being able to get some kind of confrontation.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's a venting, and you would crave the validation of an apology, for them to acknowledge what they've did. what they've done. And I mean, validation is a huge part behind it, especially when you're someone who never felt seen, never felt heard, felt like you were powerless. That can be a huge step in kind of getting some clarity, getting weight off of your shoulders that you've been carrying it all by yourself.
Right.
You know, so getting the other side of it, I can imagine would be helpful. I could not imagine making it into kind of like a production of what this person did, because I feel like that might be adding more harm in general. I only want to bring good things going forward. I don't really want. I also believe in second chances. I believe in people leaving jail and being rehabilitated. I believe people are capable of that. I don't think every single person is safe to, you know, come back. I think there's definitely a gray area, but I do believe in people healing and giving back to society, second chance employment, that sort of thing. So I know that people change and mature over time. So I like to give the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I definitely I'm tend to agree with you on this idea of second chances. But again, coming back to radical forgiveness, and I only thought of this after the conversation last night, is I don't know if asking for forgiveness is a prerequisite for granting forgiveness, because if we tend to just forgive without them acknowledging that there is a reason for us to forgive them, it's kind of like empty to me. It feels empty. It's like, what are we doing other than just sweeping this under the rug? We've agreed to just sweep it under the rug, and all that does, and I've written about this pretty extensively, is it becomes a hand-me-down. So if he is this person, I'm assuming it was a he, but I think that's a safe assumption. If he is allowed to not, or permitted to go through his life without being held accountable, then chances are he's going to pass that down to another generation, and that's the way it becomes cyclical. And so I feel like almost we have a responsibility to get to the point where we stop the hand-me-down cycle, right, of it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, that's definitely how other, you know, folk who are traumatized, they grow up repeating that pattern, you know, and then feeling like, well, that person, they kind of got away with it. So it's easy to feel like repercussions don't exist. And to have someone come back to you and ask for an apology, it would be nice if it was freely given before that, and it would feel genuine. But some people, their minds might not even go there. They might not feel like they did that much damage or have that, you know.
Right. I have my ex-son-in-law, they're divorced now, my daughter and her ex-husband. I had an issue with him when he was a teenager. He used to say, "I'm sorry" all the time, and then do the same thing over again. And I'm like, sorry. Now he has a son who's my grandson, and I caught him the other day just saying, sorry. We think sorry is supposed to be like a get out of jail card. When sorry, very few people say I'm sorry with the intent on I've learned my lesson. I feel the pain that I've caused you, and I'm making a pact with you to never do it again.
That is something in our household, we've taught to our kids. We don't use the word "I'm sorry." If you do something wrong, you use the word "I apologize." We discuss why it was wrong, and then the person that you apologize to, you know, I forgive you, not it's okay. Because it's not okay to do those things, you know. So
I'm not sure. I'm sorry to interrupt.